Got a busy hour going on with Talking Solutions today. I'm your host, Terry Springs. Thanks again to Don Miller with HopeLink of Southern Nevada. Among the things we were talking about, the fact that school is starting tomorrow. So keep it in mind, school zones, all the yellow school buses, you will see a lot of that around town starting tomorrow. Studio's full right now. All the chairs occupied. I've got Blaise Baronato in his good-looking Eagle Scout uniform, plus his dad, Tom, is here with us, and Emily Smith from the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation. Blaise, I would like to start off with you because the press release that I got from Rachel here a while back was talking about some kind of a community service type effort that you were doing with the Boy Scouts. Can you tell me exactly what happened?
Yeah, so I did my Eagle Scout project for the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation. So what we did was we made 5 little rooms for them, but we didn't just make the normal design. We designed our own type of little room out of plexiglass. And that turned out to be a really good success. So we plan on turning it in to them on this Saturday.
Wow. For all of us who don't know, what is a little room?
It's like a box sort of thing, which a blind infant or a vision problem infant would have, and they would lay inside of it, and toys would hang down from the ceiling. They would play with it, and it would echo around, and it would help their other senses.
They say when you lose one of your senses, the others have to kind of kick in and make up for it.
Yeah, it enhances it a little.
Yeah, of all the senses, though, to not have access to, I think losing your sight or not having it in the first place is the sense that says independence and would be most difficult to deal with. What is your connection? Why did you decide that you wanted to do something for the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation?
My little brother, he is blind, and he is part of the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation. So when I was looking for Eagle Scout projects to do, I thought about Rocco, and I went to the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation and asked Emily what projects I could do, and there was little rooms needed to be built, and I thought that would be an awesome project to get done. So.
It sounds like it. How big is it? I know we're doing the radio thing here, so we don't have that visual component, but that works in this situation because we're talking about not having sight to start with. A little room. An infant, of course, is small. How big would it be?
It's like 24 inches tall, so it's like a square.
Oh, I see that. I'm seeing that come up on a smartphone. We'll have to get some of those pictures and put them on our Talking Solutions Facebook page so everybody else can see exactly what it is. You guys did how many of these rooms?
5 of them.
And inside there are tactile type things hanging down so that these little children who don't have their sight actually have the ability to have that contact, that touch.
Yeah, it really enhances that, and they get to play with them from the ceiling, so they reach up and touch them and feel them.
And what does that do to help them?
It really enhances their other senses that they don't have, like hearing. It echoes throughout, and touch. They can feel all this different sorts of things as well. Tactile
is a big deal.
Yeah.
That's excellent. This project that you've been involved with the Eagle Scouts. I'm sure everybody's impressed with the idea that you came up with.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for being a great part of the community.
You're welcome.
We've got a full house in the studio today on Talking Solutions. Not only do we have Blaise, we also have Blaise's father, Tom Baronato. Tom, from the perspective of a father of an Eagle Scout, I mean, this has got to make you proud to start with, right?
Oh, super proud. And Boy Scouts start at age 8 in the Cub Scout program, and then at age 11, they go into the 11-year-old Scouts. And the ultimate goal of a Boy Scout is to achieve the rank of Eagle Scout. And that's not an easy thing to do. A lot of young men make it to Life Scout, and then they get into high school age, and they start to smell perfume and gasoline fumes. All of a sudden, the Eagle Project goes to the back burner.
That would be distractions.
It would, yeah. And they are big distractions. But Blaise set a goal to get his Eagle Project done before he entered high school. He just turned 15, and it takes about 21 required merit badges to attain the rank of Eagle, plus your Eagle Project. Blaise has about 3 or 4 required merit badges to go, which he can work on now. But now that his Eagle Project is complete, that is the biggest hurdle. And we had about 40 volunteers that Blaise garnered for his Eagle Project, 200 plus hours of work on the little rooms, and we had about $1,000 in donations that covered a lot of the material materials that we used. To go online and buy a little room, just to purchase one, would cost about $800 per little room.
So they exist and you could get them, but doing them on your own has got to be so satisfying.
It sure is. And to be able to deliver 5 of these to the foundation is very satisfying. I'm on the board of directors with Emily on the foundation, and it was just a super thing for my son to be involved with and for the Boy Scouts to partner with the foundation to deliver these.
That's a big darn deal. Congratulations, Blaise. You've accomplished a lot. I love it when I get young people in here who are dedicated to community service because it makes such a difference for the quality of life for all of us here in Las Vegas. And Tom, to be the dad of an Eagle Scout, not so bad.
It's cool.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. We're so glad to have you here for Talking Solutions. All the things that we're talking about with these little rooms all benefits the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation. Emily Smith, what is your role with the NBCF?
I'm the executive director.
These little rooms that Blaise was gifting to the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation, these rooms, they were saying that those are available on the market, but this is a great idea. Tom, Blaise's dad, is on the board with you at the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation. Can you tell me how this whole thing came down?
Sure.
They're always going to come to you to talk about any kind of efforts for the group.
Blaise came in with his dad one day and he said that he was thinking about doing an Eagle project for us and what could he do. And one of the things that is really challenging, especially in Nevada, we don't have a school for the blind. So if you can imagine a parent who gives birth to a blind child, where do you go? What do you do after that, right? That's really where our organization kind of steps in. And the little rooms were designed by Dr. Nielsen to provide an area for a child to really use their other senses, their touch, right? So the objects that hang, everything has to be within grasp of the baby. It's a little 3-room box with a ceiling and the things hang down from the ceiling. And what it does is a few things. One, it allows them to work on their tactile sense of understanding where the objects are around them. And because it's enclosed, the idea was, babies come out of a womb, a very enclosed area. And if you think of young sighted kids even, they tend to create tents over chairs to make little areas to hide. They crawl into cupboards. So they're already using those senses. The little room kind of expands on that for a blind infant, providing that very comforting sense of enclosure, but also keeping, I know it's going to sound strange, but keeping parents a little bit at bay because you tend to want to overdo for your child. You want to pick a toy up and just hand it to them. And this allows a child to explore on their own with their own hands and feel around. And so they use all of their senses. And then there's also a resonance board that goes underneath this 3-room, and it's a hard board. So you'd think, well, who wants to set a baby on a hard board? But for a blind infant, you think about how things resonate. Even on this desk, you can hear things differently. If they drop something, if they kick something, it resonates differently, and then they can replicate that, and they start to understand their spatial reasoning.
Wow. How many kids in our region, in southern Nevada more specifically, how many kids deal with blindness? Or sometimes it's not the 100% loss of vision, but sometimes it's a lot of it. How many kids are affected by this?
The Clark County School District has about 350 students, and that's a very small number in our population. But it's the most expensive number to educate because when you think of, especially early education, right, it's color the star yellow. Color this blue, the apple is red, right? How do you explain these things to a child who doesn't have vision? So a lot of early education is hand over hand. Braille, learning to read, is so challenging because Braille code, for people who don't really know, it seems like it's just, A for A, right? There's 1 dot for A, there's 2 dots in a certain pattern for B. But then as they progress, they start getting contracted Braille so that if you look at a Harry Potter book, it's, yay big for us. But for somebody who reads Braille, it's like 6 volumes, 8.5 by 11. So the contracted Braille, words that we take for granted, not only do they have to learn how to spell it the way we do, they also have to learn what that looks like in Braille contracted. So literacy is such a hard component for our kids as well. It's just such a challenging issue to have.
And for a blind child, you're talking about them reading and using Braille in order to be able to do that. We were talking about the fact that with the little rooms that Blaise and the people put together, the 5 little rooms, that it improves tactile and that sense of touch is so important for them to be able to do so many other things, including reading, like you're talking about just now with Braille.
Absolutely. And that's where that early education comes in from infancy, just getting a child to really understand the different metals, woods, something soft, something sharp, and how to navigate around their world, and getting their fine motor skills together then so that they eventually can start to learn to read Braille. And Blaise, with this project, I'm just so proud of him. I come from a long history of scouting. I'd worked with Girl Scouts for many years. So the young men and women who achieve their Eagle Scout, their Gold Award, really it shows you that there's hope in the world, right?
That's what I get every week with this show.
They are going to be our future leaders. And so I'm always looking for opportunities that we can have them into our center and find a way to help them and help us. And in fact, this fall, we're starting Girl Scouts and Boy Scout troops at our center for our kids.
What kinds of things will they come in to do? Here in Las Vegas, I've been in town 23 years now. And over that time, you'll frequently hear about how maybe there's an opportunity to do newspaper reading or something for the blind or things of that nature. But you're telling me, Emily, with the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation, that we don't have a blind school in Nevada.
We don't. We're one of 2 or 3 states now that don't have a school specifically for the blind. So all of our kids are integrated with the Clark County School District, and they're doing the best they can with the resources that they have as well. And so really, we're trying to work with them to bridge the gap. Some of the challenges that I see with the current system is that our kids, while they are mainstreamed, we have 2 kids at one school, 3 kids at another, maybe 6 here. But what happens is they're in such the minority. A lot of the kids that come to our center, it's just refreshing for them to be around other kids that are like them and understand them. Bullying is a big issue for some of our kids because kids don't understand. They don't understand what's different from them. And so there's a great deal of education that we need to do as a community, but having Nevada Blind Children's Foundation is critical for our kids and for their success, not just in school, but in life.
You were saying for early education that having a student who does not have their vision, a child identified as a blind child, that is the most expensive type of education.
Right.
Because a lot of the stuff that's easy to give them the colors and say, here, color that page.
In some cases, it's a one-to-one, hand-over-hand for a child. And so we do a lot of programs that we offer, one-to-one tutoring. We have Book Time Buddies, which is a literacy program, but we pair our kids up with certified therapy dogs so that they can read to the dogs. And then we have Braille tutors there as well. And a lot of our kids read large print. Even that's a challenge. Finding large print books is not easy to do. So we focus a lot on literacy. We do have a financial literacy program for our kids. Each program that they participate in with us, they have jobs. They'll have, leader's helper, or they'll be on cleanup, and they get paid for each of those jobs, and they can save up their money then. And there will be a portion that they can do something philanthropic with, but there'll be a portion that they can spend in the little in-house store and then save up as well. At the end of the year, we have a special thing that we're doing with the kids where we're taking them to a 3-night resident camp down in San Diego. So we have a lot of options for the kids, but all of the programs really focus on socialization, independence, mobility and orientation, literacy, and math skills. And those are the 5 most critical things that our kids need for success in school and in life.
We're talking with Emily Smith with the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation. Earlier, I'd mentioned that of all the senses that I identify sight as being the one that gives me the most independence, because I believe if I were to lose my sight, that a lot of the freedoms would be gone.
Sure.
Children who don't have that sense to start with, how far can they go? I would imagine this is rewarding when you see kids coming along and learning those tactile skills and using the little rooms that came to you from Blaise and all of the volunteers, that as they start to get those skills and as they get more confidence that they're able to do more than maybe you first thought, that's got to be really rewarding.
Every day I walk into the office and I just have a smile on my face because the kids are in there every day after school. And the thing that you'll find when you come to visit us, and I encourage you to come out and visit us, our kids aren't hung up on what they can't do. They're just kids. I've never heard one of our kids talk about their vision loss. We'll complain, well, my back hurts, oh, my toe hurts. Not one day do we have a kid that's like, I wish I could see. They're just focused on today, tomorrow, the next day. They're like every other kid. They come in. Blaise's little brother, Rocco, he and his buddy, Christian, that's their time to be buddies. At school, they might not have other male friends. The sighted boys want to go play football. Our kids might not be able to do that that in the same way. So when they get to our center, it's their time to be just like every other kid. And the boys, you'll find them, making fart noises and doing all the same things that every other boy is doing, right?
Same stupid things that every boy does.
Right. They're talking like monsters. Then we get the whole 50 million ways to die. They say ridiculous things, but that's just it. They're just kids. They're just girls. They're just boys, and they just want to have a normal life, right? So that's really what we focus on. There's the education. There's the medical components that they need. But then at the end of the day, there's just things that they should have that every other kid gets access to. So we try to keep it as normal as possible. I mean, we've got our day camp this summer. We did a lot of field trips, and we did amazing things. We took the kids out. They were touching dolphins at the Secret Garden, and they went out to the Boulder City Train Museum, and it was a very tactile experience to learn about trains, and they got to ride the trains. We went to Grimaldi's Pizzeria, and they made pizzas there. So all very tactile, but all very useful in understanding their world. One of the little girls that attends our day camp, her sighted younger sibling, was asking his mom why he couldn't be blind so he could go to day camp too, right?
They get special treatment.
Right? We're just trying to keep it fun for the kids, and we really get creative with the way we're going to educate them. So we could sit at home and talk about a train, or we could go ride one, and we could feel the tracks, and we could feel the steel stack. You know what I mean? We can just make education a different, very hands-on and fun experience for them that they won't forget.
Not just hear the sounds, but also get there and feel it.
Yeah.
Touch it.
Smell the engine steam.
Experience it. Yeah. I love what you're saying about the Center for the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation, how the kids can come there. All they want to do is be kids.
Yep. That's it.
And because they're around other children who also share the same conditions, the same challenges,
right,
they treat each other like kids.
They do, but the funny part too is because we have kids that are on a varying scale of visual impairment, right? So we have some that have some sight and they just need large print. We have some that are completely, and then we have kids with multiple impairments. They might have cerebral palsy. They might have a number of different things that impede their progress. And what you'll find is that our kids out of that opportunity find an opportunity to become leaders themselves and helpers themselves. So the kids that have a little bit more start to help the kids who don't have as much.
They can help
and they
guide
tend to
them.
look after them. So that's a great opportunity in and of itself. And we've made a program now for our teens who have visual impairments. They can actually get their first job with us as a camp counselor during the summer. So we started with a counselor and training program for kids that are maybe 14, 15. And then when they turn 16, we'll actually give them their first job, because I think it's important, like I said, from day one, when they come in kindergarten, they still have these little leader helper jobs and things like that, to teach kids about the benefits of working. And it is possible for them, to give them a vision for their future and the rewards of being a member of the community and working and being philanthropic themselves.
Despite all of the obstacles that these kids have, in many cases from birth, they still are capable of doing so much more.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And then we've got kids in there that are just so smart. So smart. It's amazing to me the things that they come up with and that they know at such a young age.
In this internet world, this tech world that just keeps expanding exponentially, you don't have to have sight to use a computer or a tablet or a smartphone, whatever piece of tech you're using. There's got to be ways that they're interacting.
Absolutely. So we do have a technology lab at our center, and that is a big focus for us, because if you have an iPhone and you're blind, you can do just about anything, right? If you go into your accessibility options, the voiceover, you don't have to be able to see the screen. There's even a Braille option, and iPhone, iPads, they all connect Bluetooth to Braille systems for them, so they can read, they can get on websites and do anything that the rest of us can do. And there's a lot of good jobs that they can get utilizing technology. There's great programs, like JAWS, which is a software program that'll basically read the screen of your computer to you. And with things like that, they're able to get jobs in call centers. I know MGM is a good employer of visually impaired people, and they have systems in place to make that possible for them. There's nothing that our kids really can't do.
A bright future is what you're describing.
Absolutely. Why not?
I would imagine that until people start finding out about the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation, they don't realize, first of all, that we don't have a blind school in Nevada. Is that one of your dreams down the road, that maybe one of these days, before long, we'll have that option?
It is. That is our ultimate dream, is that we'd be able to have a facility like that. I mean, we are kind of maxed out. We have a 4,500 square foot facility right now that we lease, and it becomes difficult to have more than 12, 15 kids at a time, because when you think of the adult ratio that you need with that then becomes 30, 40 people in the room. So we are a little cramped, but we make it work. And the ultimate goal would be to have a learning center, not just where we have education purposes, but parents, they tell us that it's exhausting, like all of the driving, right? They're going to vision therapy services. They're going to the ophthalmologist. They're going to the doctor. There's a laundry list of services that our kids typically need. And parents would love to have that in one area. And so we're looking at a vision of one day being able to encapsulate and partner with other groups to have that kind of one-stop shop for them.
Emily Smith is with us from the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation. I think the idea of a blind school for Nevada is the pinnacle of success. Yes. And the numbers that you're talking about that we mentioned earlier in the show, about 350 in our area. These are parents and families that are taking these kids from all areas. We're not all just located in one place, so they're having to drag them all over the place. You've got the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation where all the kids can get together and experience a lot of wonderful things and get together, be kids, and not have to worry about anyone looking at them any differently. They're just kids.
And the important part, too, is for the families, the services. You know, a place, it's challenging for moms and dads when they don't know and something has just happened. They just gave birth, or sometimes things happen later. We have children that are in various decline of vision loss. And so it's great to have a network of other parents to reach out to. So we do a lot of support in that way for parents that just want to connect with other parents or have questions and kind of need a place to crash and have that sigh of relief of, okay, we understand.
If somebody was curious, because I know I am, as soon as we get done with our talk, I'll be logging on to find out what's going on. Tell us where to go to find out more about NBCF, Nevada Blind Children's Foundation.
Our website is nvblindchildren.org. You can go on there. They can register for programs. They can call us for help. You name it, it's on there. And like I said, we are kind of the best kept secret and really want to let families who have a child that has a visual impairment know that we're here to help you. And most of our stuff is free and we never turn anybody away. So it's not a financial issue. It's a matter of if you need help, come in the door and let us get you on the right path.
You're a resource.
We are a resource. Let me tell you, I have never been happier personally and professionally. You know, you walk into the office every day and the work we do is just outstanding, and it's so rewarding to spend time with our kids and just see that there's this network of not just myself, but the staff and the board. Everybody's there. The parents are there. And it's just this great community that really embraces our kids and just loves them unconditionally and is ready to see them thrive and have great lives.
Some of our most creative people in the history of the world have been without vision.
Sure.
Stevie Wonder was just in the news again.
Yeah.
Apparently he's getting ready to go out on tour again. What a creative soul he is. Amazing person. He did pop-up concerts in 3 different cities on the same day promoting his upcoming fall tour. We've had a lot of people without vision. People like Ray Charles.
Ray Charles is my favorite.
I love him. The movie was great too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the stuff that they have overcome, the creativity that existed or still exists within. I know that because as a DJ, I had spent so many years doing that. I'm familiar with all of the non-sighted performers, the performers who dealt with blindness or vision loss. People like Terry Gibbs, Ronnie Millsap, wonderful person, did a cruise with him a few years ago. We have all of these people who have so much to give back. The vision is only a small part.
Yeah. I think it's harder for people who have vision, especially when you look at the amount of people aging out, you know, because of diabetes and they're losing their vision. I think that that's almost more traumatic. I think what's most traumatic is when I hear the bullying that goes on for our kids. We have a young lady who I had a conversation with on the bus ride back from Boulder City. She was asking me about what it was like when I was in school. Did I have friends? How did I know they were really friends? And that was kind of my hint, like, okay, there's something deeper here. And when I really kind of dug in on the conversation with her, it turns out that she had been bullied. And she's 7 years old, so she's saying it so articulate. Like she said, well, they just didn't understand that I'm visually impaired. And she has sight. She has some sight, but she uses a cane. She has thick glasses. And she just said, you know, I'd end up going to the school doctor because they would hurt me and they weren't nice to me. And so now I'm going to another school. Those are the things where it's equally just as important for our kids to get out and go on these field trips. For them, it's equally as important for everybody else in the community for the understanding. They're just kids, right? So there needs to be a larger dialogue so that things like bullying and the staring and the not understanding needs to step by the wayside because there's just no room for it.
Absolutely agree. Bullying is a problem across the board, and certainly for kids who don't have vision, like so many of us are blessed with, that we take for granted.
Right.
If you don't have that valuable sense of vision, a very valuable resource in the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation for families who deal with it. And every week on Talking Solutions, one of the things that we do as part of our show is ask what we can do to help you.
Well, there's two biggies. Obviously, funding. It's not cheap to support our kids, and so we're always in need of funding, and that's something certainly go to the website. Any amount helps. And then volunteers. It's equally important for the hands-on, having volunteers in our learning center, but also for their own education, because we want advocates out in the community that can speak well about the work that's happening there and feel good about the work that they're doing as a volunteer. Those are the two big ways that people can reach out and help our kids.
And as soon as you understand, you will automatically turn into an advocate because it's so worthwhile.
I don't know how you couldn't.
I'm with you on that. Well, we started out today's talk by discussing Blaise and his Eagle Scout project, where they ended up building these little rooms. Plexiglass cubes about 2 feet each direction, where the little babies who were dealing with no vision were able to use their tactile skills and develop them and reach out and grow. That was a wonderful thing.
Yeah,
they got involved.
So very proud of him. And like I said, scouting is such a great program. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, it's that important to me that we're bringing that to the center for our kids as well. So excited to have him engaged with us.
And that makes me excited about young people in Las Vegas, because when they have community service as part of their growing up process and they learn it early on, I find that those young people are givers.
That's right.
Back to our community every day of their lives.
That's right.
So when it's an important thing as a young person that they have a responsibility toward helping their community, it makes all the difference.
Sure.
It really does. Now, are there any fundraisers, anything that you've got coming up?
Our biggest gala happens late April of every year. It's the Ladybug Ball.
Oh, yes, I remember. We did that on our community events pages.
So, and our Ladybug, if you're wondering why we picked the Ladybug, the little dots kind of remind us of the Braille for our students. And so that's kind of our mascot. And we do the Ladybug Ball, which is an amazing night. Just seems to go on. We've got amazing entertainment, top name chefs around town get together, make all the dinner. And then we go on to the wee hours with our VIP party. So if you're looking for a really great party that doesn't stop, that's probably the way to go right there. It's really our biggest fundraiser for the year. And right now we're gearing up for our fall programs. A lot of opportunities for volunteers to get involved and lots of opportunities for donors and sponsors to be engaged and really support our kids. The reality is, if our kids don't grow up to become functioning members of our community, you're looking at a cost of about $1 million per person,
of course,
who doesn't go on to work, right? So you invest now, and there's no reason. And it's sad to me when I see that we have kids that are on a path that people have basically given up on them. They're like, well, they're not going to be able to graduate with a type 1 and go on to college. And I just refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that that's the reality, because it changes their whole life reality. You know, and when you're looking at a young kid who's 9, 10 years old and an adult can say that and say, well, this is where they're headed, I tend to be the one that says, well, let's move that needle back in the right direction. That's why it's so critical. An investment now saves our community a larger investment later.
We don't want that wasted potential. And it sounds like these kids, whether or not they have vision or not, if they have limited vision, no vision, they still have a tremendous amount of potential.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when I think about what their life can be, you look at those tracks and it's like we invest now and they can have a fulfilling life where they're a contributing member of our community or not. How could we even settle for the not?
We're not going for the not.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Not is not acceptable.
That's right. Not a word in our vocabulary. So.
I love your story. And Emily, just count on it. You're going to come back and visit me before the Ladybug Ball.
You got it.
Coming up next spring so that we can get everybody on board for that. I can't wait for that.
Would love to. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you helping get the word out.
We're glad having you here. And I know I've learned a ton about the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation just in our discussion today. And I hope everyone else has. And if they would like to get involved, if they'd like to just see what's going on, if they'd like to make a donation, if they would like to volunteer, that website again.
nvblindchildren.org.
nvblindchildren.org. Emily Smith, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for coming and filling us in on the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation today.
Thank you so much for having us today.
Quick reminder, if you'd like more information, links on any of the topics we had on today's Talking Solutions show, or if you'd like a podcast of the program, you'll find it on our Talking Solutions Facebook page. And don't forget, school starts tomorrow for Clark County School District. We will all notice the difference, so just be careful, watch for the kids. Thanks again to all our guests today on Talking Solutions. Don Miller started things out with Hope Link of Southern Nevada. Then we had Eagle Scout Blaise Baronato and his father Tom, plus the executive director of the Nevada Blind Children's Foundation, Emily Smith.
This is Paul Melikivi with United Blood Services. Come out to donate blood with us to help us reach our 250 units of blood that we need per day to keep up with the hospitals. In the month of August, all donors will receive a free coupon for a large one-topping pizza from Papa Murphy's Take and Bake and a coupon for a 2-for-1 voucher to the Adventure Dome at Circus Circus. Schedule your appointment online at unitedbloodservices.org or give us a call 702-233-9620.
Talking Solutions is a production of the Community Relations Department here at Beasley Media Group Las Vegas. Get more information on today's topic on our Talking Solutions page on Facebook, where you will also find links and a podcast of today's show. Thanks for listening, and have a great week.